I'm told lions roar your name, birds sing your praises, seagulls whisper your name, and voice by voice, piece by piece, Davido is sung, Obio is praised. I was the first student in Amas to publish a book. I wasn't a bright student.
Oh, really?
I started from Abehalprin School Complex.
Okay.
Each time I obtained zero, my teacher would ask me to go stand at the back of the class and shout, zero. I won as the most influential student poet in the whole of Ashanti region, and I also won the most influential student leader in the whole of Ashanti region. Posiji said, you know what? Say Gombilla. And I said, Gombilla, and that was it.
Wow.
So Posiji actually recommended, I used to say Gombilla. Gombilla. Hope Lives Here, it's a collection of poems that explores themes such as people and power, matters of the heart, and the journey towards self-discovery. You can be a good writer if you are not a good reader. Some people bring the pain of their previous romance into their current romance and seek reparation from the wrong places for their damaged heart. They hold back feelings and make love a pointless ride.
Okay, so welcome to another exciting episode of the North Podcast. My name is Prince Amdan, and today we are here again to have a very interesting conversation with a very interesting personality. In the studio is my usual suspect, Snapped, in the building.
Right here.
Original Nadamba is in the building. And this gentleman, you all know and he's one of the greatest poets to have come out of Ghana and Africa. Poet Gombilla is in the building. Man, this is an honor to be interviewing such a great guy, man. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Prince.
What's up? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time we had something to do was with a video you shot for me for a poem I wrote for Davido. Yeah, and it was a very incredible video. And
Wow.
I like your work. I follow you a lot. And
Thank you very much.
I want to encourage you.
I equally follow you,
yeah.
and I've been seeing what you've been doing, and we are excited back home to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
First of all, let's get back to who you are. When they say Gombilla the Poet, who are you?
Thank you very much. Gombilla is a multifaceted person, but what people know me to be is a poet, right? So as a poet, I'm an individual who uses his words, who uses his talent to create positive change in society, to inspire people, to heal people who are in despair, to encourage them to pursue their passions, to look into themselves and discover who they are and how they can use their talent, their innate abilities to impact the world positively. That's who I am.
Wow, amazing. Talking about, inspiring the world and all of that, giving people the opportunity to identify who they are. How did you identify yourself as a poet?
When I started out as a young boy in Tamale here, I wasn't so bright. I wasn't a bright student.
Really?
I started from Abehalprin School Complex. Each time I obtained zero, my teacher would ask me to go stand at the back of the class and shout, zero. So I go and stand there, and then they say, Tofik Gombilla, what did you get? Zero. He said, shout, zero.
Goodness.
So, those who were my mates would tell, they used to call me zero. Even up to date, when they would meet, they would say zero. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I reached age 6, my dad asked me if I wanted to go stay with my uncle in the south. Right. He was a district coordinating director at, I think, Bando. So I said yes, I'll go. So when I went, they put me into a boarding school. That's Amazing Love School in the Volta region.
Oh, wow.
But when I went there, it was a boarding school, so I started to discover myself. I started to understand my potentials, and I began to engage in school activities, drama, programs, and all of that. I began to be very vocal, and from there, I moved to Datus Complex School in Tema. And when I went to Datus, I was vocal too. But there was a time I was asked to represent my school in a poetry recitation competition, and I failed. I failed because I stood in front of the crowd for more than 2 minutes, and I had forgotten all I had memorized to go perform. So I was standing in front of over 500 students from Tema and its surrounding environment.
Oh my.
And I was saying abstinence, 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 abstinence. It was a
couldn't go
poem.
forward.
I couldn't go forward again. So the
Wow.
students started clapping. Back, 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 away.
Oh
back,
my
back,
goodness.
Back, away. I was so disoriented. I was
What the
confused. I was
hell?
depressed. And some students were teasing me. But if I said that it did not wreck me, I would be telling a lie. It did wreck me.
Wow.
I really went into myself. I quelled in for over 3 to 4 days.
Wow.
Before my teacher approached me, that was I was on a Thursday. My teacher approached me and said she sees potentials in me, and she would want me to write my name so that she can put me up there to contest for school prefectorial positions, like to be the SP. So I wrote my name, and I emerged victorious. I became the SP. And I was having opportunities to talk to the students, to engage in public speaking, building my confidence, and all of that. So I was doing that bit by bit and building it. And I was also always reading ahead of my class. So each time the teacher came to class, I was able to answer a lot of questions, and I began to get noticed. And that for me was transformative. As a young boy starting out and being perceived as a dull student, unintelligent, having the opportunity to change environment and having enormous opportunities to bring out my potentials gradually was for me very humbling. And so when I became SP was one thing that I would never ever I would never forget how it had impacted my life positively. I became a leader at that age. And from there, I went to TIMAS in Kumasi. So in TIMAS, there was a time the entertainment prefect asked us to those who wanted to act. It was I've forgotten how they call that, but it was, I think, pick and act or whatever. So I went to write my name, and I opted to act like a politician.
Okay.
So I went on stage on the day, and I was pronouncing the slogan of a particular political party, which I don't think I want to mention the name here because I was there and I was doing it, and everybody was like wondering what I was doing, but they were excited because they had never seen me, like engage in such, But I wanted to build my confidence, so I took up the challenge. I mounted the stage, started to pronounce the slogans, and the entertainment prefect thought that I was there to ridicule a political party. So the entertainment prefect disconnected the mic, and so the students could not hear what I was saying. And so they started clapping. Back, 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 away, another away. So that day I was so stressed out. I was depressed. I went to the classroom. I cried. I had a friend. The friend we met at the wedding, remember? She was one of those who were laughing at me, they were laughing at me, and then I said, no, I wouldn't allow this to slide. I need to redeem my image. And so that day I don't know if I wrote a poem or I wrote an inspiring message, but I knew I wrote something so profound. And after writing, on Monday, it was on a Saturday, so on Monday, I approached the SP of Amas at that time and informed him that I had something that I wanted to share with the students, over 2,000 students.
Whoa.
So he said,
That
no
was
problem.
daring.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He said, no problem. I'll give you the opportunity.
Wow.
So I mounted the stage. I looked everybody in the eye, and I said what I wanted to say. Everybody was clapping. And from that day, they started calling me SP. And people started according me some respect and regard. And I was so when the time came for us to contest, people actually picked forms for me to write my name. And I was like a people's person. Everywhere I went growing up, people saw qualities in me. They always pointed it out to me. When I was in primary in Amas, in Datus, people started calling me minister. And they said when we get to class 6, they were going to make me their SP. But in class 6, our teacher gave it to an MP's son. So they promised me that when we get to JHS, they're going to vote for me. Yeah, that was, I mean, it means my teacher also saw it. That's why she approached me to write my name to contest. That was in JHS. So in high school, when I did that, people were calling me SP. The time came and I had a resounding victory. You know, and like it was massive.
SP of Amas.
Amas, TI Amas.
Which year was this?
That was in 2013, 2014. Yeah. So it was massive. I won. And then I started to have opportunities to, to recite my poems at assembly, to talk to the students, to build my confidence, move from class to class, talking to students, advising them, encouraging them, giving them hope. And every time they wanted me to come to their class, they'll say, "Expect Gombilla, when I come into our class." Expect Gombilla. So I used to make time. I mean, when I'm at preps and I go around, talk to the students, encourage them. Everybody was taking my number and subscribing to my YouTube channel. But then I started a YouTube channel. I had a YouTube channel. Oh, really? They were subscribing. They were following me on Facebook.
Way back in SS?
In SHS, I had a YouTube channel. So I was like, they accorded me that respect. And so when I became SP, I had the opportunity to be performing constantly. And I used to spend a lot of time in class alone. Like if it were like, let's say weekends, for instance, Saturday, I will wake up early, like around 3 a.m., take a shower, go to the school field, and be practicing. So each time I went to the school field, Amas, everybody will tell you, like, whoever went to Amas around that period will tell you, they will hear my voice in their dormitory. I say, Gombilla, Gombilla. Sometimes I don't plan anything. I just go there and just speak my mind, just speak without planning, right? I just say anything, or sometimes I consider an idea, I just go there and expatiate and all of that.
Was that where your signature tunes came from? So
I used to say Gombilla, 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 right? But I'll come to that.
Okay, all right.
So, this thing, the students is like, is SP crazy? Is SP crazy? Like they didn't understand. Like every time I wake up around that time and go to the field. So when I finish, then when it's 5 a.m. I pray, and then I take breakfast. I make breakfast, and I go sit in the class from 5 until, let's say, 1 p.m. Then I'll go and pray. Come back to class, sit till 3, go pray, come back. And then I was just spending most of my time in class alone, reflecting, studying, writing.
Wow.
So at that time, I used to write a lot of reflective, messages. You can call it poetry, you can call it whatever, but I was writing, right? So before I completed Amas, I had a lot of materials to be able to publish a book with, right? So after that, I during my last days in Amas. By then I had written, so I was in JHS, when I was in SHS2, I had written the Novdek. Yeah, and I got remarkable grades.
Before
so I think I had 4 A's, 3 B's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was in SHS2.
Wow.
And then I had D7 in mathematics.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm digressing though, but in my class, I mean, I could have high grades in all subjects, and the maths I'll be the lowest. I'll be the highest in all the subjects, and
except
I'll be the lowest in math. So like coming back to my point, I started. I put this book together, and then before I left Amas, I had published it. So I was the first student in Amas to publish a book, and
Ever,
in Amas, to publish a book
in school, still in school.
Yeah, still in school.
Wow.
And the students patronized the book.
Wow.
Yeah, because they knew who I was.
Yeah.
So they patronized. I printed 1,000 copies.
What?
And they bought about 500 copies.
Wow.
Just Amas students
alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I came to Tamale to launch it again, and then it sold. Like everything was gone.
Wow.
You understand? Wow. So I started building myself there, and then had the opportunity. And before I left, I represented the school in a poetry recital competition. And that one I didn't fail. I did well because I emerged the most influential student poet in the whole of Ashanti region.
Wow.
In 2014. And by virtue of my leadership and then by virtue of the fact that I published a book, I won the most influential student leader in the whole of Ashanti region again. So before I left, I won as the most influential student poet in the whole of Ashanti region, and I also won the most influential student leader in the whole of Ashanti region.
Awesome.
So awesome. From there, I was discovering the craft, and then I was even inspired the more by watching Chief Mumin on VGMS night. He was performing poetry. I was like, wow. I can do this. That's when I started taking it seriously,
Yeah.
So Chief Mumin has been an inspiration to me, even to date. You understand? So
Chief, we salute you.
So I proceeded to University of Ghana, but before I went, I knew I wanted to make a mark, to leave a mark at the University of Ghana with my craft as a poet. So I
like the way he mentions it, man.
Poet, yeah.
Poet. I like we say poet.
so I was looking at distinctive ways of of branding myself and standing out. So I remember when I was going to University of Ghana, I bought a jacket and then long sleeves and then trousers and then my hat. That's when I started wearing the hat. So and is it, how do you call it? It's a bow tie, right? And then I started to build that distinctiveness. And I think the first day we went to class, I told you when everywhere I went, I get noticed. And so I went during our first class. We were all seated waiting for our first lecturer to come in. Everyone was seated and the board was very dirty. I just got up and cleaned it. And everybody was looking at me because first year level 100, who is this guy? I just got up and then everybody started looking at me. They started murmuring. So when the teacher, I mean in Canada we say professor, we call our lecturers professor.
Ghana,
So when our lecturer came, she said she wanted a course rep. Everybody said, we want this guy. Everybody said, we want this guy. Immediately. So I accepted it. I became the course rep.
Wow.
And I had the opportunity. Each time the lecturer was not in class, I stood in front of the class to perform a few poems, told them out of my book. I still had copies. So a few copies. I had printed some extra copies. So they were buying, right? They started buying my books, in level 100. And then I started to make that name. My name started spreading bit by bit. So there's this new guy called Gombilla, And then political science class was like one of the biggest, largest.
Oh,
so
you're offering political science?
Yeah, political science.
Okay,
that the class I was...
It's always the biggest.
Yeah. So the first class where they noticed me to give me the course was I think, study of religion class. And then the next day I had a political science class. So I went to political science class and then the lecturer was not in. I stood up again and I introduced myself. I told them I wrote a book. This is what I do. I performed for them. And then my name started spreading again.
Wow.
And they started buying the books and in the University of Ghana, each time I had a free time, like weekends for instance, I used to move from room to room, go, hey, my name is Gombilla, I'm a poet, and I want to perform for you for free. Would you like it? Those who like it will say, oh yeah. And I'll perform and they love it. Wow. I take their numbers. I was doing that over time. And if I saw a group of people, friends seated under a tree, just having random conversations, I approach, I introduce myself, I perform, take their numbers. So gradually, they started calling me for events on campus. So there was no event on campus that you wouldn't see Gombilla on the lineup.
Wow.
Like there was no program on the University of Ghana campus. So that was how it was going. It was good. I started getting media invites, TV, radio. I started making videos. They were going viral. And stuff like that. I think the first video I shot was on Ebola. That time it went viral, and then subsequent videos started going viral. They're just going like that, going. And I had a lot of good guys coming together to support, like videos, promotion. And I was a vandal. So vandals were like everywhere. I had a program. If they see my name on the lineup, they'll come there and they'll give me morale. Like vandals, oh my God! Shout out to vandals. Like vandals really supported me. Like they went above and beyond. and they were just on campus on your walking, say Gombilla, like from a distance, Gomb. So everybody was like, so like that was how the name was spreading. And then I got the idea to organize my first event. That was Sobolo plus Chicken on campus. Oh my God, it was massive. The place was filled up. At the University of Ghana, it was filled up. We did a first edition, and then we did a second edition. It was massive, right? And then I decided to bring it to Tamale.
Wow!
And then we organized it, and then it was massive. It was the biggest. The one in Tamale was the biggest, right? So that's been the journey for me. And then when I took the numbers of the students, created a database, and when I made videos and audios, I shared with them. And then that was what I was doing, So it was going like that, viral, going. But for the Gombilla, at the Posse G recommended that. Posse G, Sarkodie's engineer.
Posse on the mix.
I went to his studio. That guy too had really he supported me so much. Sometimes I go and record, he doesn't take anything. Or I record, he'll tell me that I should give him anything I have. So he's been my friend since then to date. Right, so shout out to Posse G.
Posse G.
Posse G said, you know what? Say Gombilla. And I said Gombilla, and that was it.
Wow.
So Posse G actually recommended. I used to say Gombilla. Gombilla. When I was on my school feed, Gombilla. But Posse G actually recommended the Gombilla.
And it's actually very unique.
Yeah. So Posse G, shout out to Posse G. Thank you so much for playing a significant role in my
He's from here, right?
Posse G is from the north.
Wow, Charlie, amazing story so far. Do you have anything to ask, Damba?
Okay, so quick one. I don't know if it's right to ask this question here, but are you related to the popular PK Gombilla we all know?
PK Gombilla is my dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. So
shout out to him for
saving a lot of lives here in the
for sponsoring my education abroad.
Yeah.
Like
big shout
out. No scholarship, nothing.
Wow.
Single-handedly sponsored my education in Canada. My cost of living, every single thing that has to do with spending.
Amazing.
He did, and I was really comfortable.
Wow.
And I'm grateful to him.
Oh man. I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, me too. Especially to know that people like to say that the northern fathers are not too supportive when it comes to things like that.
My dad, he didn't have the opportunity to go to school to the highest level.
Yeah.
But he believes that investing in human beings is very important.
Yeah. PK Gombilla Pharmacy is the people's pharmacy. Man.
That's what I'm saying. We have saved lives from way back. We met somewhere. A big pharmaceutical company was actually awarding their best supplier, their best customer, and all of that. And my family happened to pick an award for best customer. And then he won the biggest award of the night. That's the best supplier and all of that. Wow. All of their branches they have in Ghana, he supplied medicine and all of that. And it was
and
big.
We want to see more fathers do that.
Yeah.
It might not be in Canada, but just give your children the best you can.
And Prince Hamdan, the reason why I made that categorical statement about the fact that he sponsored is not to boast or anything,
I get it.
but to encourage parents to invest in their kids, because if you invest in human resources, I think it's better than investing in infrastructure. I mean, it's good to invest in properties. It's good, but if you invest in a human being, you have set him out for life. Because there are a lot of people that I support at this point. So at the end of the day, if my dad hadn't supported me to a point where I'm able to support other people, then what would it have been? So if you invest in a human being and there is life, there is health, that human being will grow up and also bless other people around him.
Because I think this particular conversation is very important. We've been having it here about parents, especially in the north, how children are now left on their own and all of that. So I think it's very important we make this point to encourage other parents, because it's very important. If your children should lose it, like you are done. You've like your existence is baseless as a father or as a parent. Damba, do you have any question for?
So I don't have any question. What I just have to add is basically what Tofik said. I have seen a couple of stuff in it, and that is discipline. Very important. Consistency. And then the fact that he was bold to be able to get out of all these aways and then zero to becoming a hero, from zero to a hero.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we take that into consideration, because normally what happens is that the society itself in the beginning,
it's not
in
easy
the
to be
beginning
boss
doesn't
in
really
Africa.
help. You understand?
Yeah.
Until you are getting there.
Yeah.
So it is now left onto you to make sure that once you know where you are going to, I think you are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And once you are consistent, and then you are strong, and then you are faithful to whatever you are doing, you are going to make it out there. And Charlie, is very important.
And I totally agree with you, because it's not easy to pass through that and still continue and or persist.
Yeah.
Many people would have coiled back, because like after the first, how do you call it, away, like many people will be scared to even
attempt it again.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, would you say that it was because of that you made a promise to yourself to make sure that you prove a point? What did all of that humiliation and stuff add to push you, to give you that fire to achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Yeah, so like I mean, all those experiences, they built me, because there were two options. I could have just laid back, relaxed, and said, you know what, I'm not going to put myself out there. I'll doubt myself, and I'll stay back. But Shakespeare, I'm going to paraphrase Shakespeare. He says, self-doubt is a traitor, right? It prevents you from doing something that could have brought a positive outcome.
Yeah.
But because you fear to actually overcome your self-doubt, or you fear to let me put it right, you fear to take the first step, you don't even know if something positive is going to come out, because you only know that something positive is going to come out from an endeavor when you try. Right? So I chose the part of the positive, right? I took the step, and that has been a phenomenon in my life, building me strongly and taking me forward in whatever I do as a poet. And so I think that these experiences molded me, and they actually pushed me forward.
What kind of influence did you have around you? Because, as I said, it's very difficult for a young boy to have that kind of mentality or mindset, to be that strong, to continue to do what you do. So for me, growing up, I had a lot of influence from the internet. So I got on the internet at a very early age, and I didn't use it to watch things that are not good. I used it to learn. What kind of influence did you have around you, at your early age, to give you that, courage, to give you that boldness to, know that I have to do this or nothing else?
Growing up, I paid attention to my dad a lot. And I saw he's a very determined person. And I picked up a lot of positive energy from him. He's so committed to his work. He wakes up so early, goes to work. Like, he works, even though he has a lot of workers who can do things, he does things. Sometimes he does a lot of the things by himself. He asks you to go do something, and then by the time you go and do it, he's finished doing it. Right? So I picked that earlier from him. But I also would acknowledge the involvement of my teacher, Sir Nuhu Ibrahim. He was my teacher back at the Mass, and he really discovered me. He really discovered me and mentored me. And I used to see him read a lot of motivational books. So he encouraged me. He recommended books for me, and I started buying those books, like those motivational books. And I was reading. Just he would call me, give me some mentorship, advise me, guide me, and all of that. So he played a significant role. So I was exposed to motivational speakers. I used to watch a lot of speakers on YouTube, like the likes of Albert and Comfort Okran, and then the likes of Emmanuel Detumi. All these guys, I used to listen to them as a then. So I think that in spite of all the hard times, the embarrassment, because of the stories they told, the ideas they shared, their lives, direction, I was able to pick up some lessons from their life to be able to propel myself forward, irrespective of the challenges that I was experiencing at that time in terms of the humiliation.
Wow.
Right. So I would want to know, is this a very difficult thing to do, poetry,
Well, it depends on what you mean by difficult. What do you mean by?
I'm asking this because I attempted something like that. I just called it a message. I do videos, put up on Facebook to talk about social issues, but then a lot of challenges. So I just
and you know, poetry is not just ordinary writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The way you go about it, like,
Delivery
has to, you
and
know,
all that,
like
messaging.
make people think a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So rather than just writing straightforward, it's a bit deeper than, you know.
Yeah.
So is it difficult to come to put together?
Well, I mean, most of the times I write at unusual times. Whether I'm driving, when I'm driving, the idea comes and then I just pack and then write. When I see people moving around, I see experiences, I listen to the news, and I get inspired by reading other poets too, right? So, for instance, you read the likes of Kofi Awuno of blessed memory. There's that spark of creativity, right? You're like, okay, wow, it's broadens your thinking towards a certain perspective, and you're able to see the world from his view, and you're able to create your own world too, right? So I get inspired by other writers. I get inspired by society experiences, personal experiences, people's experiences, and all of those, you know, those circumstances around in our, you know, our life and our daily routines, right? So those things, and sometimes too, when I'm just like leisurely walking, or maybe just in bed, you know, like just unusual times, like taking a shower, I get inspired. So when you get inspired, you don't really think about the complexities of the writing. You just use words to express your emotions. So that's the first thing you need to do. Don't criticize yourself. I mean, it becomes difficult when you self-critic, right? Your job is not to criticize yourself. Your job is to bring that creative juice out. You have to squeeze it out like an orange. So my first instinct is not to criticize my work, although sometimes you attempted to criticize the work, but my first, like, the main goal is to use your emotions, marry your emotions that you feel at that time with your words, and then bring it out. Like, just do that. And you can leave it for 2-3 days, 5 days, and then come back to it and look at it and be able to add, change,
Subtract.
and add, and then make some corrections, you know, and don't think about the spellings. Don't think I just write.
Just be creative.
Be creative. Like, because if you begin to criticize yourself, you break the flow of creative energy, right? So that's what I tell, you know, a lot of people who look up to me when they reach out to me. How do you do it? I tell them this. And one thing that is very critical is to read. You can't be a good writer if you are not a good reader, right? You have to read, broaden your horizon, get inspired by other writers, see how they do it, and how you can innovate, right? Because, I mean, if I write on love, I'm not the first person to write about love. People have written about love. Shakespeare has written about love.
So many times.
The likes of, I mean, Chief Mumi, they've written about love. The likes of Wole Soyinka, they've written about love. All these, you know, this incredible talent, they've written about love. But at the end of the day, what perspective of love are you going to look out for in your work? What are you going to look at? Sometimes to your level in life. I'm a bachelor. That can inspire the kind of love poems I write.
Right, yeah.
My age, my disposition, right? My temperament. All these things can determine the aspect of love I want to look at. As a young person, if I'm going to write about love, I might focus on the imperfections of love. Love is imperfect. I mean, I might focus more on that, especially with regards to how people bring the pain of their previous romances into new romances, and they stifle its growth. Because as a young person growing up and trying to meet new people of the opposite sex and interacting, you experience certain attitudes, and you experience certain certain characters that might inform the kind of poems you write, right? So that's what I'm trying to say in short, is that The environment inspires you, your experiences inspires you, people's experiences, and other writers. And those things come together to make your creative energy flow. And once the creative energy is flowing, forget about grammatical errors, forget about all those things. Just write. After all, we have editors.
Yeah. All right. Damba, do you have any questions?
Yeah. So one question I have for Gombilla is for me, I've always said that it's not easy to be a writer.
That's why I was.
You understand, especially taking into consideration like this. So, for instance, let me use this book as an example. Like 3 years ago, like we just dropped the book.
Yeah, we're coming to talk more about the book.
Okay,
yeah,
so fine. So, as a writer, I know this is not your first book.
Yeah.
This is your second book. What are some of like if you are going to advise a fellow writer or somebody who wants to go into the writing business? Because I'm saying this because of the experience we had with one guy at UDS when he was like he wrote a book and then he wrote something and finally he went and read it and then just had to push it into the dustbin. What advice do you have for somebody like him?
I think it comes back to what I was saying, self-criticism.
Yes,
like
yes.
There's that temptation, that instinct to criticize yourself, right? And to doubt your materials.
Yeah.
But just focus on your emotions at that time, focus on the flow of energy, and just write. The grammar will take care of itself later, right? So that's the advice I have, and I also encourage them to read more, to read other poets, other writers, right? Because I can't overemphasize this enough.
It's very important.
You can't be a good writer if you are not a good reader.
Awesome.
So how long have you been in this?
Well, since I had, like I said, in my junior high school days, I represented my school, but then I didn't know I would do this. But I want to say that I started actively, like, really pursuing this. I think from 2014, and I was learning and growing over the years. Yeah.
So next year will be a decade.
Probably.
Any book or any poem to honor that?
Well, this is a book that will honor that. Hopefully so.
Right.
I will be talking about that book in a little while. You come from here. You come from Tamale, right? You come from the north, and you are doing so well with poetry. Who are some of the young chaps that you see that are also doing well when it comes to
in
poetry?
northern region,
in the north? Yeah, you just
okay. I think I've seen a couple of them. I've seen the likes of Gifted Tima. I think I've seen. There's this guy. He's called Amsani. He's incredible too. And Ismok, right? Ismok is. I mean, he's doing well too. Okay. I really admire his passion. Okay. And there are quite a number of them that I follow, but I mean, I might not be able to remember their names on top of my head. Yeah.
Is poetry profitable? For example, just as in music, like. Yeah. Is poetry profitable?
It's profitable. It's profitable, not in the sense of if I say it's profitable, I'm going to use the utility in diverse ways. So, for instance, being able to inspire somebody to pursue their passion and that passion becoming lucrative for them, then it means it's profitable. If it's able to preach on thorny political issues that will bring a sense of awakening in the minds of ordinary people to hold office holders to account, I think it's profitable. If it's able to inspire other people to write, I think it's profitable. And in terms of, if you want to look at the profitability of poetry from a holistic point of view, then you cannot ignore the aspect that I've mentioned. But beyond that, if you write something like this, a book, and then you're able to to monetize it, like, put your poems in a form of a book, put it on online platforms, put it out there, market it, people are going to buy, because so far this book is moving so well. But you have to build a platform, right? You have to build a platform where people are confident in your abilities. And once they are confident in your abilities, when you bring a book, they are going to buy it because they understand your metal, right? And beyond that, you can have your work on iTunes, on Amazon, you performing at events, and all these things are very lucrative. If you look at the likes of Chief Moomin and Nana Sassi, they are living off poetry in Ghana. Like, they perform at events, corporate events and all of that, and it's lucrative, right? But it can be better, right? It can be better, just as even movie acting in Ghana, right? I mean, the creative art in general, the lucrativeness of it can be better if people really paid attention to it and follow the right channel. So, for instance, Yvonne Nelson released her book, and people were sharing the PDF on WhatsApp. I mean, that's not helpful, because at the end of the day, yes, I know that people wanted to read the book, and some might genuinely not have money. But at the end of the day, that's somebody's creative work that's been shared like that. If you share like that, how is she going to make an income from her writing? So,
All right.
I mean, it's just, apart from the fact that the artist or the creative person is bringing out a product or a juice from their creative energy, it's important that the people who support them pay something, to get the value access, so that it's a way of encouraging them to keep giving the world their best. Yeah.
Okay, so you did a poem about Davido.
Yeah.
Do you by any chance know if he has had the chance to listen to it or reacted to it in any way?
I think it was being shared across, but I don't know if he has seen it. I don't know, but I did that poem not necessarily
For him
that
to-
he
for him
sees
to
it,
see
but
it, yeah.
I've been a long time admirer of Davido's creative work, and I've always loved him, like his work, right? So I wrote for him. I wrote the poem just to recount
For the love you have.
for the love I have for him. But I mean, after the fact, that writing a poem for a personality like Davido, it's going to be beneficial to yourself too, irrespective of the fact
course,
that
of course.
you're writing as a fan. But at the end
Yes.
of the day, it gives you utility and some benefits, and
Okay.
it's able to push your career forward.
Please do us the honors. Can you give us recite the Davido poem?
Hello, Davido. You need not leave this world to be a legend. In the heart of your strive, you are a legend in your own right. You are a glow of your own light, the strength of your own might, the vision of your own sight, the wings of your own flight, and the measurement of your own height. I'm told lions roar your name, birds sing your praises, seagulls whisper your name, and voice by voice, piece by piece, Davido is sung, Obio is praised. I'm told words have reached the end of the sea about your exploits at O2 Arena, the Madison Square Gardens, and around the world. How the people gathered and still gather in troops like they did at the Ecclesia in ancient Greece, where democracy came to life. Everyone has a role to play in life. Yours is music blowing our minds, and with your outrageous passion and electrifying performances, you imprint on our heart and minds nothing but joy. Master craftsman whose creativity is a healer, sending shocks down the souls of the hater, the undaunted who refuses to resign to failure. The exhilarating journey your music takes us, soothes our souls, and dives us deep into a melody so sweet, a beat so sick, a tune so hot, and everything so cool. You are an epitome of hard work, laden with smart work. You're sailing through muddy waters of painful experiences, of insult and of ridicule, has raised you to become the hope of Africa. Your music connects heart and injects unity, creating the Africa Patrice Lumumba wanted, the African Nkrumah dreamed of, the Africa Nelson Mandela fought for. Yours is not a fight with colonial masters, nor is it a fight against racial discrimination, but driving happiness into the homes of men and women chained in the sadness of the every experience. Your life is a resurgence of an African nationalist spirit.
Wow.
When Gobe comes, we'll rise and
It's dope,
still
yeah,
dance
it's
to
dope,
Skelewu.
it's dope.
We go there for you even if you fall in fire. That assurance we give you, because we had a good time and now we are having a better time. How can we trade you for 1 milli just like that when Damiduro still sounds sweet in the middle of our ears? That will be too risky. Just activate Jawa to look into our eyes and see how within us lives a holy ground of love with nothing fishy going on. You are very special, and the love we have for you is so crazy. It be like say I don't they talk too much. Bam.
Amazing poem there by Gombilla The Poet to OBO. Charlie, nice one, Charlie.
I hope it reaches him. This is
no. This video will definitely reach Obi.
Has to.
If it means me sending it to Nigeria,
Right.
amazing. And I was fortunate to have been the one to shoot the video.
Yeah.
And I loved every bit of the experience working with him. And at a point, I'll just be looking at him like.
So the video is on YouTube. Everybody should go.
Charlie, go watch.
Yes.
What's the handle?
Gombilla The Poet.
Gombilla The Poet.
Check it out. Check it out. Dope, mad.
Too dope. There are a lot of lines, a lot of dope lines in it. You've not heard.
This one's if you comedy. Go and watch the video. You will love it. So let's talk. At the point you moved to Canada, which we were talking about earlier on. Why? At what point did you decide to move to Canada?
So after I'd graduated from the University of Ghana, having attained my undergraduate education, I decided to further my education and to expand my horizon and to experience life from a different part of the world. I was fortunate enough to have opportunities to travel, but at the end of the day, I'd wanted to further my education somewhere out there. So I decided to choose Canada, and I applied for admission into one of the largest the largest bilingual universities in the world. It's called University of Ottawa. It's at the heart of Canada, the capital city of Canada. And so I went there and pursued my master's degree in public and international affairs. And I'm fortunate enough to have graduated with a master's degree from the University of Ottawa. And now I live and work in Canada.
Amazing. Why did you choose Canada?
It's multicultural, nature. It's calm, nature. Canadians are kind people, and beyond that, it's a place where you can have the peace of mind to pursue your education. I mean, there are other places you can have peace of mind to pursue your education, but I thought Canada captured my heart after reading about Canada and the enormous work that Canada is doing in the world and how the cause I wanted to do, international affairs, linked or connected to Canada's role in the world, how magnificent Canada is in terms of its contribution to the advancement of our world, if it be it in gender programs, gender equality promoting, like their policy on their gender policy that it's based on sending aid to countries where people who are in the space of advancing the cause of gender equality are able to use their own effort through the funding of Canadian government to advance the cause of gender equality across the world. And I think that it struck me so much, and I was so impressed about the work Canada continues to do around the world. And then also with regards to the fact that Canada has been very vocal and very active in its role in multilateral organizations, and how Canada's ability and effort over the years has given them the chance to have a seat at the table in global affairs, and they are changing lives through their investment and support. I think that those things were positive images that that resonated with me and connected with what I want to see the world to be, how I want the world to emerge, how I want us, irrespective of our differences and irrespective of who we are and where we come from, we can be able to thrive anywhere in the world. And I think that multicultural environment in Canada gave me that excitement, and their effort in multilateral organizations and around the world, their policies in improving lives, in changing the course of in supporting the fight against climate change, in supporting gender equality, and in supporting less privileged countries, and all of those ideas, and how they are very supportive when it comes to immigration, how their doors are open to people running from persecutions from wherever they are, and all of that. So all those things inspired and encouraged me to go to Canada to pursue my master's in public and international affairs.
Wow. So how is living in Canada like? Because I know majority of the people in Ghana, like, if they get the opportunity, everybody's going to run out of this country. But it's always a mindset against reality. You've been in Canada. Is it better there? than I mean, you've lived in Ghana too. Yeah. Is it better in Canada?
I mean, life is I mean, it's far advanced in Canada than here. I mean, are you talking about transport? Are you talking about health? Are you talking about education? What is it you're talking about? I mean, is it the economy? Is it fair wages? I think it's better in terms of that. But I think the best, I mean, I wouldn't say the best, but I think, in my perspective, I think that going to school in Canada is your best bet rather than going there illegally, right? If you went to Canada, I mean, some people travel with visitors visas and then they decide to stay and don't come back. And I mean, it will be very challenging, in terms of trying to navigate and get the right.
Depending on how you get there.
So that I think that if your aim is to be a permanent resident in Canada, I think the best option for you is to, I mean, you can apply as a skilled worker. There are immigration programs where you can apply through as a skilled worker and be able to get opportunity to get a PR, that's permanent resident status, and then be able to come to Canada to work. But if you're a young person without enormous amount of skills and without any known profession that you've practiced in for over 10 years or whatever, I think your best bet would be to go to school. So once you go to school, it's an opportunity for you to have the bona fides to be able to apply to the right programs and streams that can enable you become a permanent resident in Canada.
Okay. All right. So what are some of the culture shocks, things that, like, as a Northerner, when you went to Canada, you saw them as, like not normal to you?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, when I read that Canadians are nice people, and like I recounted earlier, how they are playing a significant role on the global stage and supporting countries. Yeah. I think that one of the things that was very, very surprising to me was when you're about to enter a grocery store or whichever store it is, and a Canadian is going out, they open the door for you.
Oh, okay.
Like if I'm ahead of you and opening the door, I can hold it for you. Who is behind me to come out?
Okay,
so
okay.
that holding of doors and that smile, Canadian smile. Sometimes it's fake, but I mean, you like this smile. I mean, most of the times you meet a Canadian, hi, how you doing? Yeah. And Canadians are so interested in people. Like it was a shock to me because like even to your professors, they are so interested in you. I mean, they are so down to earth. Come and see me. After class, if you don't understand anything, we'll have a one-on-one discussion, like that kind of, very open society. It's a very open society where, irrespective of who you are, I mean, there are some challenges, right? But at the end of the day, in general, I think Canadians are kind people and they are very interested in people, right? So that was like a shock to me, right? But it wasn't that deep. Right, because I had read that they're nice people, and so though it was a shock, because the way they went above and beyond to show interest in you and to support you, I didn't expect that extent.
I saw you perform at one of your university functions. I think you were wearing a smock.
Yeah.
So the first one, I was nowhere. That was Carleton University.
Okay.
That's like our sister university, our rival.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that was at it was a Ghanaian event in commemoration of our independence celebration, the recent,
How are people, like, seeing the northern dress, like the smoke, the culture? Because as a northerner, definitely you show some traits of your culture. Wherever you find yourself. For example, wearing the smoke. How, like, do they like it?
Oh yeah, they do like it. It appeals to them, and when you wear it, they just look at you, like they like it, Yeah. Wow. So it gives you a sense of pride and confidence, and even we ourselves love it, right? So it's a symbol of identity, of who we are and where we've come from, and our rich values and all of those ideas, right? So the smoke symbolizes a lot, right? So at the end of the day, if you wear a smoke and then people appreciate you for wearing a smoke, it makes you excited and happy, because they value your stories.
Oh, amazing. It's not.
Yeah. No, just
All right. So let's talk about your recent work, your book.
Yeah.
Hope Lives Here. Tell us about it.
So thank you very much for talking about my book, Hope Lives
Hope
Here.
Lives Here. Yeah, you can show
Hope
it to the
Lives
camera.
Here, it's a collection of poems that explores themes such as people and power, matters of the heart, and the journey towards self-discovery. So the chapter on people and power, people and power, it's about the power dynamics in our society and how we relate with those, the dynamics of the power, how wielders of power exhibit the power, what changes they bring to our society, and what impact those changes have on the ordinary people. So it's not just about political power. It's also about religious power. It's also about traditional power. It's also about business power. You know, if you are in an organization where you feel that your boss is looking down on you, is not appreciating your effort enough. It's rude and all of that. I think you are going through. I mean, that can be very depressing. And I try to highlight some of these ideas in my book so that whoever you are, whether you're a boss, you are a subordinate, when you read it as a subordinate, you have hope that at the end of the day, you are not going to be there forever. I mean, you have to, appreciate the fact that, okay, this is how some people are, this is how they are. So you'll be able to fine tune yourself to be able to, to ignore those excesses. And then also as a boss, you're able to read and know that, okay, you're a boss, but it doesn't mean you should look down on your subordinates. Let's love each other irrespective of the level we are in society, right? And I touch on a lot of issues like climate change. For instance, in the last, it's said that the UN, according to experts and then even the UN, they estimate that if we are going to save our planet, then the heating of the earth should not exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius. It should be within. But experts have said that by the end of the century, the Earth's temperature is going to rise to about 2.8 degrees Celsius, and so it's too high. If we don't do anything about that, we all know the devastating consequences of climate change. We know that it causes sea levels to rise. It causes a lot of flood. It causes drought. When there is drought, you don't have enough rainfall to be able to grow food. People will be hungry, and it will cause devastation in the world. And so, at the end of the day, I look at how my book can be able to encourage us, individuals, organizations, governments. What's the role of the government? What's the role of the individual? How can we as individuals ensure that we reduce our carbon footprint or we create resilience against the debilitating effect of climate change? Is it government building quality infrastructure, bridges, so that they can withstand the pressures of climate change?
I think that goes back to your earlier point of using your work as a poet to change
the world. So and also apart from that, how are individuals still building on waterways? Are we moving away from areas where waterlogged areas, or are we creating boundaries that will prevent our water bodies from overflowing to destroy our properties? And so all these ideas comes together in one way or the other. You think that your effort doesn't matter, but effort by effort, contribution by contribution, we build a solid foundation for our change. Because even if you look at countries like Brazil, the United States of America, China, and the rest, those countries contribute enormously, about 50% of the emissions in the world, right? But at the end of the day, we can all work collectively. That is why when the US is saying that China is our strategic competitor, they take policies that would help them, to outshine China. But at the end of the day, they also recognize that irrespective of the fact that we are competing, there are places and areas we need to collaborate. Areas like climate change, that's where we need to collaborate to create policies and to ensure that we are able to save our planet from the catastrophic effect of climate change.
I would have read one of how do you call it? I would have read a few paragraphs from the big book, but then because of the nature of it, I would want you to read it yourself. So, And for lack of time, we just do a few paragraphs and then we ask some few final questions and then.
Okay, so I'm going to perform a poem.
Okay.
From the book. It's on the section where I talk about people and power.
Okay.
So it's in. I think it comes out at a very opportune time.
Okay.
Where we know that a minister stashed some dollars in her house.
And some dollars, it looks as though it's just some,
and it's becoming an issue. Yeah.
An issue, and I call this poem "An Evenly Divided Cake."
Okay.
It's on page 213. An evenly divided cake.
Okay.
An evenly divided cake. Politically stimulated wealth doted around the hungry tongue of owners drooling with passionate hunger that nothing the height of their worth is worthy in their hour of need. Holders of power pilfering from coffers and giving out what's not theirs to those who own them. How come what's mine is wrapped up for me and I'm expected to be grateful, to grovel and thumbs up every set period? They take from us and give to us a tiny slice of our cake, and we hold our silence still, chewing like fools and bowing to those hell makers making hell before hell is ready to receive pervert. They are buying for their progeny at birth a presence and nationality in places far advanced with money from pathetic places, the height of slums and filth. Securing their future like a cork over a bottle of water, fastening their future and about to take flight over our collective heads and thinking us stupid. That we can see, but hunger has humbled us. Our collective national interest is bleeding, and no amount of words can heal us until we stop nurturing our wounds and fight through our collective pain.
Wow. Charlie, the thing choked me out. Amazing, Charlie. Actually, amazing, bro.
So much power.
Wow,
So much power.
Charlie. Man, I'm lost for words.
You know, the place I said they are buying for their progeny at birth, the present. It's the fact that the wives get pregnant, they take them abroad, they give birth, and they secure the future of their kids.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to say that had it not been for the corruption, the fact that they are able to amass a lot of work, because it doesn't come cheap to do that. To take your wife out there to go give birth to a kid. It doesn't come cheap. It's so expensive.
Wow, Charlie.
And I don't think that
big ups, man.
Salaries alone and
it's not enough.
Profits from businesses.
No salaries, and then also
bonuses.
Allowances. Sorry, that's what I want. Allowances and bonuses can give you that financial muscle to be able to do that, because it doesn't come cheap.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, there are some people who are genuinely, they have their businesses that's giving them income aside being in political offices. But at the end of the day, it's not just the politicians, even civil servants.
Yeah, a lot
they are very
people,
corrupt, So like even our society alone, like we are all of us in one way or the other, there's some semblance of corruption. But I have a problem when people begin to blame, say, okay, politicians are corrupt, civil servants are corrupt, all of us are corrupt. It should not end there. Okay, yes.
How come?
Is the solution in us agreeing to the fact that everybody is corrupt? Is that a solution? And then sitting down there without doing anything
and seeing it as though it's normal.
Or the solution lies in being able to say, okay, everybody's doing it, but how can we stem that out of our society in our own small ways? Like I said, it's also like the climate change we're talking about. How can you, in your own corner, in your own small way, limit it, right? That way we can build a momentum and collective effort. Because trust me, even sometimes our society is responsible. They see a young boy who is promising, they say, Charlie, you have to do politics. So money day inside, right? And you're like, you sit by and like, okay, you are the same people putting this mentality into, potential, people
Brilliant
who have
people,
potential to become, change makers,
Yeah.
and telling them that, oh, there is money in politics, so go into it. I mean, if you continue to do that, you keep creating the impression that when you go there, you just have to steal. And we will come back as a people and say, oh, corruption, politicians are corrupt. But it's the same society that encourages young people who are doing well in whatever they are doing, that, hey, wait, you have to go into it because there is money. You have to go into that.
Yeah.
I think we need to begin to, to make that that change of mindset. And we should also, I'm yet to see somebody telling a promising young guy that, hey, I see a lot of potentials in you. I think that when you become a politician, you'll be a change maker. I want you to go in there and make significant change to a society and make lives better, improve lives, give hope to the hopeless, and use our resources judiciously to advance the cause of our development as a society.
Recently, an MP, if I should put it, from Gambia resigned because of the fact that, the amount of money they pay them. She can't, like, it's a shame to her to take that amount of money and go back to her constituency and see poor people there. She resigned. Wow. That is the kind of mindset I think we should have as, Africans, as people who want to make change. But just as you put it rightly, you see, the listing, everybody's talking about money. How are they going to get the money? They're going to steal it.
Yeah. And I mean, to come back to your point, you talk about the Zambian MP. I think I think that yes, she resigning is an act of principle, right? But I also think that political power gives us enormous opportunities to be the change agents that we want to see in our society. So what that she could have, I'm not questioning, her resignation, but I'm just saying that maybe she could have used her power. I mean, I don't know how bills are being introduced in the Zambian parliament, but I think that if it's possible, she could have, helped in bringing in crafting legislations that would advance the cause of her people and support them in their endeavors. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's good she resigned on principle, but I also think that to bring change, you need that political power.
Yeah. And I think we are not privy to, what actually the whole
the
story.
circumstances.
Exactly. Because it's also possible that she tried and she's not getting.
Okay, yeah.
And you know how difficult it is when, the majority of people are for something. Because mind you, corruption is not as though, just as you said earlier, it's not as though we want to fight it. There are a lot of people who they like it.
Yeah, they are benefiting.
We are benefiting from it. So when the majority, and these people are very dangerous people.
Yeah.
If you don't take time, you one person trying to fight them, you end up losing your life.
Silence.
And normally, what I also realize is that the only time MPs are working together is when it has something to do with benefits, car loans.
And I was also trying to put this
salary increments.
A lot of the civil servants are now politically appointed.
Yeah.
So they themselves are politicians.
Yeah.
So the corruption moves.
Even our security services.
Right.
That is what is going on.
Let's get back to our book.
Our powerful
How long did it take you to put the book?
I think 3 years. I wrote the first. I was still in Ghana when I started writing, but I didn't like it.
Wow.
I didn't like the first manuscript, so I threw it away. And then I started again. I didn't like the second one too. I threw it away. So I think this was the third one that I felt, okay, well, it's reached perfect. It's not perfect, but it's reached a point. It highlights what I want to say to the world. Okay. And so, I decided to write it. So I was talking about the people in power, and then we digressed into the climate change issues. And I was just trying to paint a picture of the facts of some of the issues that I deal with in this book, how important this book is, and how I wanted to bring about the change in society we want to see. So you also find poems on love, like with a chapter on matters of the heart, where I talk about the imperfections of love, the beauty of love, the pain, the roller coasters, the experiences, all the nitty-gritties, most of the nitty-gritties of love, on that in that chapter.
You need to know about.
And then also the chapter on it's called The Journey. That's on self-actualization and self-reflection, being able to reflect on your past achievement and using that as a catalyst for the future.
Wow. Wow. I'm taking a book. I'm buying a book today. I'm buying one of these books today, for the studio. And I'm fortunate, to have him here. Probably he's going to be signing it for me. But there are a lot of people who wouldn't have the opportunity to have you just as we have. How are they going to get the book?
Yeah, so thank you very much for that question. Those in Tamale, I'm still around in Tamale,
Okay.
and we sometimes, as and when we have time, we're able to deliver to people personally, and then I take pictures with them, we take videos, and then I sign autographs for them. However, if you're in Tamale and want a copy of the book, you can grab a copy at the Guel filling station. I think it's adjacent the Melcom Melcom supermarket. Yeah, it's adjacent Melcom. So that Guel filling station, you're gonna find a copy there. You can also get a copy at DMTV. It's opposite the DVLA office. You can also get copies on all bookstores online. Amazon, Apple Bookstore, Kobo, etc.
Wow.
You can find copies
Great
there
stuff.
wherever you are in the world. You can get copies
get a
there.
copy there.
Or alternatively, you can WhatsApp 054 11 34 764 054 11 34 764. You can WhatsApp this number and we can arrange copies for you. Also, you can call 053 196 2255 053 196 2255. Yeah, once you get in touch, you can get copies of the book. And thank you very much for the opportunity to be here to talk to your wonderful
Charlie,
listeners.
thanks so much for coming. How much is it? How much is it?
It's 85.
85 CDs. Fala, Charlie.
Yeah.
Go get the book, man. It has a whole lot of, things you'd want to, read about. And sometimes when you read things like this, it gives you, hope that, tomorrow might just be better.
Straight.
Hope there will be hope tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
So just grab your copy, and together, we are the change makers. But if we don't know how are we going to make the change?
Exactly.
It starts by reading. And reading to open your
copies.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah. Amazing. Thanks so much, Tofik.
I should get one
appreciate
myself
it.
too.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably after the show, you
Right.
should. You should. Right? Signed and sealed.
Yeah.
For me, man, Charlie, this is an amazing moment. I might not have the chance or the opportunity again. So I'm excited about this. Let's wrap up the interview. Yeah. As a Northerner, what's your favorite Northern food?
I like rice balls and granite soup.
Rice balls, okay.
I love it so much.
Okay.
But for some strange reasons, I don't want to buy it.
Okay.
When
Yeah,
I go
I
out.
know that feeling.
Yeah, but I like that. But I think I don't really discriminate when it comes to food.
Food, okay.
I eat anything that I get. But at
Okay.
the end of the day, I think if you gave me rice balls with granite soup, you've killed me. As a Moshi man.
So who is your favorite artist or or musician from the north?
From the north. That's a tricky one. But I love this guy, Fadlan.
Fadlan.
Yeah.
Amazing dude.
I love
man.
him.
He was here last week. as well.
One thing I observe about his music is that he learns. I've been mentioning that all the time.
Yeah.
I like Fadlan. I like this guy, Papi Suede. I like there's this like he gives some vibe. I don't know, like I just like him. I just like his music,
Yeah.
I think, and I also appreciate the likes of Fancy Gada, Macasio, and all the other young talent, Wiz Child and the rest. They are all doing significantly well. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. All right. So if there's no other question, Damba, I know why today your energy is on a different level. So all right, so guys, are we good? Charlie, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, man. It's
I think
amazing
did I
to have-
perform a poem?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me do one for the lovers,
Okay. All right, let's get it.
If these cold nights would leave me begging for love, let them not near my skin. Instead of wallowing in the misery of finding a heart for my heart, let the heat roast me. It's better to know there is no love than to live in confusion for this. Some people bring the pain of their previous romance into their current romance and seek reparation from the wrong places for their damaged heart. They hold back feelings and make love a pointless ride. They grow cold and starve the moment some nourishment. Let me go and find real love. Let me go and find a heart that's not scared to love. I can't continue enduring hurtful acts from you just because your previous lover broke your heart.
Amazing. Is that in the book?
It's in the book, yeah.
Oh man, Charlie.
I think it's the third poem on the third. It's the third poem in the, I think, third chapter. Right?
Wow, amazing, Charlie. Amazing book, man, and amazing personality we've had. Charlie, he has concluded the interview. Right. Thanks so much, guys. It's been an amazing conversation, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode. We are.
Peace.